From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes. Brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week. We are ecstatic you've tuned us in as we wrap up July and start to look towards August. You're going by at warp speed. So, hey, when you get to this point in the calendar, the NFL pops up. Now, I know it's a year-round sport in terms of the headlines the Shield garners, but now we're actually talking about training camp and preseason games next week. Counterfeit football, your favorite thing.
Oh,
so here we go.
Oh, boy. Are you headed out there? You going to go out to Egan and spend some time watching practice? I mean, we're talking about practice.
Yeah, we'll see. TBD.
Yeah, in other words, no. Who are they scrimmaging this year? Do we know? Do they have that set up? Because don't they do like a scrimmage with somebody out at camp? That's kind
it's
of
called a joint practice, my friend.
Okay, all right.
I think, and maybe we can have Rocky look this up, I think it's Cleveland in Ohio.
Really?
But we need to double check that.
Did they play Cleveland in the preseason this year? Because that would make the most sense then.
Well, I got to look it up.
All right, so you don't know.
They have 3 preseason
You have
games.
no answers for me. I'm asking questions you don't have answers for. Well, maybe they are going to Berea to scrimmage the Brownies, who, by the way, are going to have a new stadium in the very near future.
Yeah, another cookie-cutter dome?
That's
basically what the NFL's getting.
A little more indoor football, just what you had hoped for.
Except for the Buffalo Bills. Let me salute
and the Green Bay
Bills
Packers
right now. Well, but the Bills got a brand new one.
Oh, that's
and
true.
They could have put a lid on it. They said no. They could have put that phony stuff called field turf in it. They said no. The Buffalo Bills are true to who they are.
Well,
good job, Buffalo.
Yeah, well, Cleveland might as well switch it up. I mean, they haven't won a playoff. Well, they've won one playoff game, but they haven't won a home playoff game since they reemerged in, 1999 or whatever it is.
in that stadium that used to be brand new in 1999, now they think it's archaic right there on Lake Erie. They have not hosted a playoff game.
No.
In the history of a stadium. I'm not sure that's ever happened. You have about 2 years left, your Brownies, to get a home postseason game where that's going to be a record that you don't ever want to hear, but you're going to hear.
Well, and I got bad news for folks in Cleveland. You're not getting a Super Bowl, that's for sure. You don't have enough hotel rooms.
No.
You just don't. And Cleveland's not going to be much like – that's why Buffalo just said, nah, we're not going to bother
Buffalo's smart. Yeah. By the way, breaking news, it's a joint practice with the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, so it's not –
How about that?
The former Browns. Way to go.
Yeah.
Way to
I was close.
Way to stick it in and twist the knife.
It's going to be purple on purple.
Will you be confused by it?
Possibly.
Okay.
They're the only 2 teams in the NFL that the primary color is purple.
Okay. You're all excited about the Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy duel, right? Or are you a Carson Wentz guy?
I think it's, who's QB1, who's 2, and who's 3. I think that's all for grabs.
Okay.
I really think it would be stunning if Kyler Murray's not the opening day quarterback against Green Bay on September 13th in a 3:25 p.m. kickoff at the House of Noise in Minneapolis.
Listen to you.
But, hey, look, all 3 of those quarterbacks, no matter what you think of them or who you think is the front runner, all 3 have to prove they can stay on the field the whole season because that troika, they all had injuries a year ago.
Yeah. It's being gifted to nobody, I guess. All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk about a guy that's been revered throughout the Midwest in baseball for years, and we lost him this past week.
Yeah, we'll look back at John Anderson, the guy they called 14 in Dinkytown. We are 10K Takes, your purple ticket.
This is a great idea. You were right.
Yes, you heard correctly, Denise. The 3 most beautiful words in the English language. Print them out. Hang them on your fridge. Get one of those planes that spells out words in the sky. Let everyone see. You were right. This is your moment. Savor every second.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
Seeing clearly matters. being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Let your adventure begin in Lakeville, Minnesota. We have over 90 places to grab a bite to eat, and we're close to the Mall of America, Valley Fair, and the Minnesota Zoo, plus hotel packages and great rates. Visit Lakeville. We're serious about fun all year round.
We are Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes, and earlier this week we lost John Anderson, the longtime head baseball coach, legendary head baseball coach at the University of Minnesota, winningest coach in Big Ten history. The accolades go on and on, Eric. But I think to get a better grip on, what John Anderson was or what he meant to the University of Minnesota and to this program, let's bring in one of his longtime assistant coaches, a guy, Lee Swenson, who worked not only in the baseball program, helped him run the summer camps where I first met you, Lee. Lee Swenson, affectionately known as Swede throughout Gopher baseball country. Swede, tell me your first thoughts when you heard that John had passed.
Well, it was a shock. I got a text from Kerry Leitenberg, something about a cousin that he knew, and so we got a text. I was at work that day on Thursday, and I read it and I said, what is this all about? What's going on? And lo and behold, I got a hold of some other people, Billy Soul, and he said, cardiac arrest, and it was just something right out of the blue. Just something that you couldn't even script. It was just tragic. It was just a shock, complete shock.
Yeah, Lee, and his records are right there for everybody to look at and process. Winningest Big Ten coach in history when it comes to baseball, and also a guy who really tried to make baseball work here in the Arctic Circle, a.k.a. the University of Minnesota. And I know he was a huge proponent for trying to, get that Gopher program on a level with schools in the South and the West. And look, Iowa State doesn't have a program, neither does Wisconsin. Minnesota was kind of an outlier. But the one thing that as I look back at John, for decades, as you know, they had the tournament at the Metrodome and then U.S. Bank Stadium. This guy was able to coax schools from Los Angeles, whether it be UCLA or USC or Florida State or Texas or Oklahoma or Arizona or these Sun Belt schools. He'd get them to come here in January or February. That tells you how universally loved he was.
Absolutely. He was the epitome of college baseball, and he was such an ambassador to amateur baseball in the upper Midwest, but all across the country. He was revered by college coaches from Division III to Division I, and some of the top-level coaches in the nation really respected him and what he does and what he did for college baseball at the University of Minnesota and also the upper Midwest. And I remember vividly one time Florida State coach says, John, how can you do it up here? How can you practice indoors and have such a good program? Well, that was a tribute to John's number one recruiting, but also the way he handled players as human beings, and not just players, but as young men, not only in teaching them the skills of the game of baseball, but also in charge of giving them guidance for the next 50 years of their life. And you can see that in the rosters and going back in all of the alumni that just revered John, and how he respected them, honored them, and treated them like human beings, rather than just a player, rather than just a number, and what can you do for me lately? And that just says volumes about the human being that John Anderson was, and also the coach that he was. He truly, truly respected and honored every single individual on that roster, and that if we recruited you, you were meant to be on that roster, and we're going to work with you day in and day out to get the best out of you as a human being and also as a Gopher baseball player.
you were alongside him as he worked feverishly the last several years before he retired to get that new Siebert Field built. What was that like? And to me, it's a living tribute to John Anderson that field even exists.
Yeah, that was a process. I know that him and Rob Fornacier worked tirelessly on that through the engineers, through the university, through all the donors, and it was epic. It was really epic, and what they did, especially John, to get those donors what they needed in terms of for groundbreaking was astronomical. Siebert Field was condemned. We couldn't play there. We could only practice there. And that's why we moved down to the Metrodome when the Twins moved out into the Target Field. So we had full reign of the locker room, practice, games, everything else, because we couldn't do anything at Siebert Field. And we loved Siebert Field. It was the epitome, or just the goal of every college baseball player to play at Siebert Field since 1970, when Dick Siebert built it. And but I remember the groundbreaking, and I remember the towers, the light towers coming down, the stadium coming down, and then all of a sudden it was just a flat piece of ground. And Rob and I would go out and take a look and just be astonished of what was going on at the time. And just the piecemeal and the building and the grading and the underlayments, or whatever they needed to do. Then all of a sudden you started seeing the dugouts. You started seeing the stadium seating. You started seeing the berm come up, and you started to see the big picture of what it was going to be. And we were very, very excited about that. And the big question was natural grass or artificial turf. Mm-hmm. And John is a traditional baseball guy. He wanted natural grass. But the biggest thing is that you play in the upper Midwest, and with snow, with sleet, with rain, with freezing conditions. So you got to be able to get the games in. So he basically gave in to the turf, which was probably the right call. But he insisted that the mound and the plate be clay, so that the pitcher and the catcher and the hitter could dig in and feel dirt underneath their spikes. And that's the way it is today, that the mound and the plate are still in clay. Now, if that's going to continue, that's up to Ty McDevitt and the new staff and the new regime at the University of Minnesota, but that's why it is there today.
Interesting.
Lee, thanks so much for joining us. I know it's been a tough few days for you, but we appreciate you reflecting on the legendary career of 14, as he was known.
He was a great man, and talk to any one of his players from the past 43 years, and he'll say the same thing. And great mentor, great coach, great human being, and we'll miss him greatly in the game of baseball. And the baseball world has lost a great one yesterday when he passed away.
Thanks, Sweet. Appreciate it. He's Lee Swenson.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Longtime assistant coach at the University of Minnesota and director of operations of that baseball program. Eric and I will be back with more here on 10,000 Takes for this. Stay with us.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earrings. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Welcome back. Minnesota scores 10,000 takes. Wally and Eric, and we're going to continue talking about 14, John Anderson, former Gopher head coach, and we're joined now by one of his former players, Ryan Lefebvre, of course, longtime play-by-play guy for the Kansas City Royals on television, in town, ironically, this week as the Royals take on the Twins. Ryan, as you look back in your playing days with John Anderson, what sticks out in your mind, number one?
Oh man, there's so many things, and I'll tell you, you guys are the fifth thing I've done today. So I've had a chance. I'm warmed up and have had some practice and trying to take some of my emotions and my thoughts and put them into words because it's hard to do. He was just a leader, and as I get older, and I've been in the business for a long time, there's a difference between somebody who's in charge, somebody who has a position of authority, and somebody who's just a leader. And he was a leader in that he cared more about us, I think, than himself. He cared about us as human beings more than he did about our statistics. He cared about our grades and our majors and our life stories. And a lot of things that we didn't realize when we were playing until we probably got out into the workforce and saw the exact opposite. And I think probably the thing that sums it up is that he had such a belief in us and loved us so much, and we knew it. And in good times and bad, there were times where I was scolded pretty good, and there were times where he did the exact opposite when I thought I was going to be scolded and I wasn't. But I think the greatest tribute that I could give him is that when we were on the field, we didn't just want to win for the Gophers, but we wanted to win for him.
So his coaching tree, Ryan, it's impressive. Roughly 25 major league players performed for the Gophers while John was the head coach. You're a broadcaster who's made it to the top of the MLB food chain with Kansas City. Let's not forget Eric Decker had an NFL career, but I watched him and broadcast him when he played left field for the Gophers at the Metrodome. So his impact was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah, and for all those guys, I can turn it on myself, and I can tell you, someone asked me the question today, what does John Anderson mean to you? And I said, everything. Everything good in my life right now is somehow tied to John Anderson, who took a chance on an 18-year-old, cocky, insecure kid from Los Angeles, 18 years old, and convinced him to come to, I'm looking at your show, 10,000 Takes. Minnesota was the land of 10,000 unknowns for me. I'd never been here before. I didn't know how it was going to work out, but I really felt like John was going to give me a chance. And the difference maker for me, I had already taken 4 official visits. I had 1 left. He knew my father, and I think as a favor to my father, that year, my senior year, the Gophers just happened to be in Los Angeles for their spring trip. So Rob Fornacier came out and watched me play. I went over to UCLA and watched them play, and I got to meet John. And I think as a father, he pursued me and invited me for an official visit. And as a favor to my father, I took the visit. I don't know how serious we really were about each other back then, but when I came on my recruiting visit on a beautiful, cloudy, windy, rainy, 41-degree day at Siebert Field, and wondering, are you even allowed to play baseball in weather like this?
Boy.
On my way out, his then girlfriend, Jan, was driving me to the airport, and John's last words to me were, "We need a player like you here." Now, I don't know if that was true. They would have been just fine without me. But nobody had ever said anything like that to me before as an 18-year-old. And I had a good time on the other visits, but it was like, hey, we hope you come here. And it was more like, hey, we got this great program. I'm a great coach. Why don't you come aboard? My visit here and with John was just so different. For him to say that to me, that's all I could think about on the flight back to Los Angeles that day.
Eric and I have our own experiences with John, of course, over the years. But the one word that keeps coming up, and I think that you have intimated that here yourself, is loyalty. I mean, he just consistently is loyal to whether it was his players or his friends or us as guys in the media or us as parents when our kids went to his camps. I mean, he's just loyal to the people that he was dealing with. And I'd like to get your comments on that.
Well, he was a Gopher player, and he injured his arm, and he loved Gopher baseball so much that he stayed on as the team manager. You guys have heard the story that he ended up being the team MVP and didn't even play that year. I mean, that's how much he meant to the organization. He meant so much to Dick Siebert that Dick Siebert took him on as a coach, and then George Thomas took him on as a coach. And he was very loyal to the university. He cared very much about the University of Minnesota, and he fought for that stadium for years. And for a bunch of different circumstances, when I was there and the years after that, I mean, he just kept getting pushed to the back of the line while the university was building all these brand new, beautiful facilities. But he kept fighting. And I was out there earlier today, and the question was asked, how do you feel when you're at Siebert Field? And it's mixed emotions, because when I look out there, it's so different now. I can't picture myself out there. I can't see memorable moments out there in my mind because it's changed so much. But when the opportunity came when finally the green light, so to speak, came on to build a new Siebert Field, I wonder how many people were doing that for the University of Minnesota and how many people were doing that for John Anderson because of his loyalty.
No question.
Good point. Ryan, I called him college baseball's version of Bud Grant. He was stoic. He was unflappable. He rarely got rattled. When I did the games, occasionally he'd go out and have a word with the plate umpire or the other umpires on the bases. But he was in control, and I always felt like it trickled down to you guys in the dugout. You didn't panic. And you guys played good fundamental baseball, and I think that all is linked to John and his MO.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Eric. I mean, the whole culture was a reflection of him. And I think he did a good job of getting the right players. You guys have seen the movie Miracle, just like I have, for obvious reasons. And there's that famous line when Herb Brooks tells Craig Patrick, I don't want the best players, I want the right players. John Anderson went after the right players, and he was lucky in many times that the right players were also very good, too. But I can also tell you there was a time at Ohio State my freshman year, and I went 1 for 19. And after going back to the dugout after one of my many outs, I screamed something that was very inappropriate, and it echoed throughout this big empty stadium. Because of weather, we played over at where the Columbus Clippers played. That was the Yankees AAA stadium, and there was 1,000 people there, but this is a big stadium. And he grabbed me by the jersey and put me up against the wall in the dugout in front of everybody and said, "Don't you ever embarrass this school, your teammates, and me like that ever again. Do you understand?" It was like, "Yes, sir." But we always knew that, like a good parent, the discipline came from a good place, and he was more interested in helping develop good men than he was good baseball players.
Well, Ryan, you're one of those good men. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Good luck with the Royals for the rest of the season. You're probably going to need it, but we'll talk to you again down the road.
All right, thanks, guys. It's always great to see you when I'm in Minnesota.
Ryan, see you later. You're a tater.
I've got that on tape somewhere.
Oh, dear. He is Ryan Lefebvre, former Gopher baseball player under John Anderson, and, of course, Kansas City Royals play-by-play guy. Right here on 10,000 Takes. Back with more after this.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Get in the game at St. Croix Casinos in Turtle Lake, Danbury, and Hertel, Wisconsin, your local destination for sports betting. Check out our sportsbook at St. Croix Casinos. From football and soccer to hockey and UFC, you can join the non-stop action. You'll find plenty of options to bet on with our cutting-edge Play Sports kiosks, whether placing live or prop wagers before tuning into the game. That's the book at Turtle Lake, the Red Zone at Danbury, and our sports betting kiosk at Hertel. Find your fortune at St. Croix Casinos.
Life moves pretty fast, but not at Freddy's. When that first bite hits, you can't help but slow down. The secret to quality time is just quality and time. That's Freddy's.
Mom, what's wrong with them? That's called quality time. Don't stare.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
Finding the ideal place to stay is important for business travelers. Lakeville, Minnesota is conveniently located off I-35, just south of the Twin Cities, with a variety of hotel choices. Lakeville offers convenient amenities such as shopping, walking trails, golf, and more. Our unique meeting spaces, historic downtown, live music, and over 60 dining options are sure to impress. Book your next stay in Lakeville and experience convenience, comfort, and quality. Find your perfect hotel at visitlakeville.org.
10K Takes on television. As we wrap up yet another episode, big shout out to the viewers in Med City, the Twin Cities, and the Twin Ports. And they want to know what your mood is. Angry, cranky, grumpy, giddy, demanding, happy. What is it?
Well, maybe demanding this time around again. As you recall, 1 year ago, the Minnesota Twins at the trade deadline, they dealt away 10 major leaguers in a house cleaning of epic proportions. What will they do this time around? The trade deadline is Monday, August 3rd. Will they trade for players? Will they trade for cash? Will they trade for, 60 cases of beer? It did happen once. Back in 2005, the Schaumburg Flyers traded a pitcher by the name of Nigel Thatch, who wasn't exactly having a banner year. They traded him to the Fullerton Flyers. This is independent league baseball that's going on. And they traded this guy for 60 cases of beer. True story. So, what do the Twins have left over hanging around Target Field that they might be able to trade for some pitchers? Because they need pitchers. I don't know if this guy Nigel Thatch is still available. He's probably about 45, 50 years old now. Might be worth a call. What do they have storage extra? Maybe some of those extra Kirby Puckett jerseys laying around. Might be somebody out there that wants Kirby Puckett jerseys. Let's get some pitching back here into Minnesota. The Twins can hit the baseball. They can't pitch to save their lives, particularly that awful, dreadful bullpen. Make the trade. Maybe it is beer. I don't know.
All right, Mood Meter says, once again, demanding diva. And that seems to be where that needle lands most of the time.
You like that?
Yeah.
60 cases.
Well, that would be
of beer?
a great trade for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my take of the day, one of the things I love about going out to the ballpark or the arenas or the stadiums is the people you run into. And the other day, I went to see West Sacramento in Minnesota on a Saturday night. Kirby Puckett jersey giveaway, by the way.
Did you get one?
No. They gave away 10K, but they had 30,000 in the house. There were a lot of people wishing they would have gotten there earlier.
Cheapskates.
Yeah. So anyways, in the press box, I see Mickey Morabito. Now you're wondering, who is he? He is a traveling secretary for the A's, and he's the longest tenured traveling secretary in Major League Baseball. And what do these guys do? Well, they coordinate the flights. They coordinate the bus trips. They coordinate lodging for Major League Baseball teams. And think about the scope of that. And then when you think about the A's franchise, they started in Philadelphia. They went to Kansas City, Oakland. Now they're in West Sacramento. Soon they're going to be in Las Vegas. Mickey Morabito has flown over 200 million miles with the A's franchise. So this guy, he's the juggler.
Yeah. Looks like Mickey was organizing train
He goes
trips.
back to the
horse
days,
and buggy days.
Of Billy Martin. All right. We got to go. Thanks for tuning us in. We are 10K Takes Your Sports Ticket.